Okay, guys, last part of our 1.4 classifying angles, and we are going to talk about something we talked about for, I believe, segments, which are congruent angles. So the same idea here that two angles are congruent if they have the same degree measure. And this is something that we talked about, again, for segments, but when we use the equal sign, that's when we're talking about the measure of the angle. And we show that by using the little m for measure. If we're not talking about the measure, if we're just actually like talking about a picture or a drawing of an angle, we just say angle A is congruent to, use that symbol, angle B. So angles are congruent, angle measures, so we literally have to use measure, are equal. So get some of this out of here so it's not as confusing. And then in our picture, I just want to point out that these little like red arches or arcs in there show that these angles are congruent. So if they have the same markings, and if there's more angles in the picture, sometimes they'll do like 2 or they'll put little dashes through. But if the markings are the same inside the angles, it means they are congruent. So last term we're going to go through, and you can draw a little picture. And we kind of saw something similar to this before, but an angle bisector, very similar to a segment bisector, right? So an angle bisector is a ray. You may also see lines, but ray is the norm. So a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So if they wanted us to draw a picture of this, we would draw an angle. So there's my angle, and I'm going to do my best to find like right in the middle. So there's my ray. That would split this into two congruent angles. And to show that, we would draw a little dash on both sides that's the same. So this would be our angle bisector. Okay, so let's wrap up with one last example here. Get my new page. Here it is. So you guys have this example in our notes, and they just give us a situation. So let's draw this out. It says ray YW bisects. So this is the first thing I'm going to draw, angle XYZ. So I'm going to draw a nice angle. And I'm going to go in order of the letters that they gave us. So XYZ, we know that Y is our vertex. And then I'm going to put in the angle bisector. So I should try to go right in the middle. And they called that YW. And I'm going to put in the marks to show that both sides are the same. So now let's fill in our picture. They said the measure of XYW is 18. So let me see if I can highlight that in our picture. So XYW, I'm just going to highlight in here, is 18 degrees. Put my mark back. Find the measure of XYZ. So we want this big angle on the outside. All right, well, let's add some more to our picture. Since we know that we drew the angle bisector in and we put the same symbols, that means this side is also 18 degrees. So just to get used to it, I'm going to write our addition statement. So we want the measure of angle XYZ. And we know this is the sum of both of our angles from the bisector. We know the angle XYW is 18 degrees. And that WYZ is the same because we have our angle bisector. So if we add these up, the measure of angle XYZ equals 36 degrees. And we're all set. All right, guys, there's one more example for you to try out in your notes, and then you are all set.